So our topic at hand today is we are continuing our OEM-specific ADAS training, and this week's OEM is Nissan. So we're going to talk about what makes Nissan unique to others in the marketplace. And, a lot of similarities. We use radars, cameras, and ultrasonic sensors, much like pretty much any other manufacturer we've talked about in this. But radar for adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitor, rear and front cross traffic alert, cameras for front view, rear view, 360 view, and so on. And ultrasonic sensors for park assist, of course. And to sum them all up, this is what Nissan markets as what they call ProPilot Assist. So taking all of these ADAS components and the sensors and put it together. So ProPilot Assist is hands-on driver assist system that combines Nissan's intelligent cruise control and steering assist technologies and includes a stop and hold function that can bring the vehicle to a full stop, hold in place, and can bring you back up to speed when traffic starts moving again. It's kind of freaky how it come to a stoplight, and then it'll continue on. ProPilot Assist with Navilink syncs with the navigation system, providing additional information to better predict the freeway ahead. New features include speed adjust by route that can help reduce your speed for tight curves and off-ramps, as well as speed limit assist that gives drivers the option to quickly adjust the set speed to the posted speed limit. Both features allow for a more intuitive, enjoyable drive, so they say. I don't know about the speed limit control because I'm kind of a lead foot, but I have experienced the other stuff when the traffic starts moving, it takes off. That's kind of weird, like I said. And speed limit assist, I wouldn't do, like I said, but speed adjust by route, that can be interesting. If you're coming up on a sharp corner, they'll slow you down so you don't overspeed in the corner. So that could be useful, I suppose. But that's how they marketed it. They marketed it as what they call ProPilot Assist, and there's a little button on the steering wheel that turns it on, and there you go. So a couple case studies. We have our 2018 Rogue first, one of the top sellers for Nissan in the last 10 years. It has 3 radars on it, one in front for adaptive cruise control, 2 in the rear for blind spot monitor. Plus we have 5 cameras. We have the normal lane recognition camera up in the windshield, which I'd call front view, rear view, and then 360 view. You got some in the mirrors, and you got one in the grill there. So the front camera, the upper camera anyways, is set up by the mirror in the windshield, much like most vehicles. And then you see we have a lane camera right there, so that's where we go for any calibrations needed there. And then we got codes and data, of course, but then we'll go into special functions, and we have a lane departure warning camera calibration. This procedure will calibrate the lane camera. Please follow service manual instructions for lane camera aiming. Park the vehicle on level ground. Be sure to place the target correctly according to work procedure in the service manual, or use an ADAS recalibration system like the True Point. Do not continue with aiming unless target is set properly, otherwise system may become non-operational. So basically it wipes it when you start the calibration, so you need to make sure you can complete it. And it does have targets. It's going to confirm again. Press start to perform the camera aiming procedure. Do not start aiming if target is not placed correctly. So make sure you're following the service manual. Then you hit start, and then it starts. Front radar. It's going to look like many other front radar units. It can be down kind of at the bottom there. And then in this case, this would be under laser/radar. So I don't think they actually use a laser. I don't know why they say laser radar, but it is a millimeter wave radar. And there's a functional test for that. And there's special functions in there is where we're going to come into the radar calibration. So vehicle not moving, ignition on, target board set properly. So you will need a target for this one as well. And you can, there's a couple adjustments that need to be made. And then it will have another adjustment that needs to be made using the scan tool. So much like many other vehicles, and the other manufacturers don't necessarily call it out. A lot of them do, but not everyone does. A 4-wheel vehicle alignment must be performed before proceeding with radar alignment procedure. It's a good plan. Always perform the radar alignment after removing, installing, or replacing the sensor. Radio waves could adversely affect electric medical equipment. Those who use a pacemaker should contact electrical medical equipment manufacturer for possible influences. Does not operate normally unless the sensor is aligned properly. And it's going to go through here. It's going to say set up the target board, and you're going to go through the adjustment. And then millimeter wave radar adjusts. Let's see, target correct, hit start, and then it'll go through and it'll do an alignment. So you do one of the alignments, and then the scan tool does the other part of the alignment. Rear radar in the rear bumper on the corners there. You can see you got 2 little units there, but in this case, there are no calibrations, so to say. And you see it's not even listed. Sometimes we get rear blind spot monitor radars listed separately out, but in this case, we don't. 360 camera in the front. You can see it's kind of like below the grill there on the bottom part of the grill. Kind of like right in there, looks like, that black part. So in that case, we would use the around view monitor for that. Once again, codes data, special functions. And then you see you can do driver, front, passenger, rear, individual cameras. And then we have initialized camera image calibration, fine-tuning of bird's eye view, cause of lane departure warning cancel. So it's got a bunch of other stuff in there as well. Steering angle sensor adjustment, rear camera, rear wide view fixed guideline correction. So a lot of different things can be found inside that around view monitor. So we'll take a little look at that later. All right, and the next one, we have a 2014 Altima. As you may guess, a 2014 model Altima, probably not all that complex when it comes to ADAS, and you'd be right. So really, it has a rear view camera, but it is a multi-use rear view camera, which I found interesting. So it's used for lane departure, park assist, and blind spot monitor, which I thought was interesting because lane departure pulling off the rear, kind of interesting. But there we go. And there is a calibration for this rear camera as well. So there are targets that need to be done on the floor. Black-white pattern, got to be marked in the proper way too, because one of them's twisted 90 degrees from the others. So just make sure that's proper. And then there is the, in this case, we get the round view monitor. I guess it could be equipped with radars, but they weren't shown in the service manual. So special functions in there. And then we have the initialize the camera, steering angle sensor, a lot of those different things we saw, predictive course line, wide view fixed line correction, etc. So it's going to give you a few of those things in that rear camera, just for that rear camera, around view monitor. And then we have a newer one, a 2021 Sentra. So this one has rear blind spot monitor, adaptive cruise control, much like the Rogue. 5 cameras, surround view, rear view, front view, rear park assist with the ultrasonic sensors. So front camera looks a little bit different, but it's going to be in the same place. Oh yeah, by the way, I need to mention this, and this is why I picked the 2021 Sentra in this case, is Nissan also requires auto-auth authorization for many of these functional tests or special functions. They don't lock down the whole vehicle, much like Chrysler does, Stellantis, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't lock down the entire vehicle. I can still read and clear codes and do a lot of other things. I just can't do some of these secured functions. So they, once again, lock it down at the functional test level. But you do need an active AutoAuth account, active software with the tool, and your tool needs to be linked to the account. So in this case, front cameras, that's going to be, once again, in the intelligent cruise control, I think it's wrapped into the intelligent cruise control, actually. Round view monitor will be the 360 camera. So front radar, that's going to be under, we have the separate laser radar in this case. Rear radar is going to be on the corners again, corner of the bumpers. And that has specific left and right called out units on that one. And then 360 camera, that's going to be actually, and they call it sonar in that case. And interesting enough, in one of their bulletins on the park assist, we actually find some good pictures of, hey, here's some damage. So mud or dirt on sensor, pitting chips and damage, ice and blocking the sensor there. So since they are inset, they might pick up snow and ice a little bit more in those areas that get snow and ice. And like I said, that is under sonar. And then you see we have codes, data, functional tests, and special functions. So special functions have corner sensor distance setting, center sensor distance setting, volume setting, trailer hitch mode. So if I have a trailer hitch, it doesn't play off the trailer. Parking width level sensing and tire diameter setting, because that'll change the angle of the sonar, if you think about it. So we can set it from near, normal, far, and farthest. So it'll tell you what it is set to, and then you can also set it again. And then when you hit exit, it's just a simple checkbox, and there it goes. Right? All right, so that's kind of a quick one, but let's go live on the tool and see what we can find. Actually spend a little bit more time on that Sentra, I think. I'm going to pop into the scanner on the Rogue. And we'll go in under, we have separate ADAS and driver's aids down here. We also have service resets that we could go into if your tool has that. And then we can come down to driver aids and ADAS, and you can see if they calibrate cruise control module, for example. I go into repair information. And that should load in a second here. Unless we're having an issue tonight. No, we're not. Okay. There we go. Adaptive cruise control module. It is being a little sluggish tonight. All right, and then after repair information, so for the forward-looking radar sensors, for the cruise control module, it's going to give you your sensor alignment. Okay, it's going to give you a bunch of cautions, and then you need a target board, a laser assembly, and a stand. So here's your target board. It's actually, you would set it to 3 different positions in order to carry out this function. And actually, in this case, the board moves up and down, but really you just need straight vertical. And then in this case, you're going to make sure it's lined up correctly with a laser. And then make sure you find the center line of the vehicle. And then you're going to point to target. And then you're going to come down here. It's going to have a couple more things. Make sure it's square, set the target board. And then perform the radar alignment. So you're going to go into millimeter wave radar adjustment. And then you're going to go through. And then it possibly could give you some errors too, other than alignment completed. Alignment completed is correct. But if it's not ready, or it's going to tell you what the failure might be, right? So you want to make sure that everything's in place, and then it'll adjust it. And then we have aiming values that are can be confirmed with data as well, which we saw earlier. Now, if I go back to the scanner and go to functional, nope, that's sonar. So it's because I'm in the simulator. We'll just go to laser radar this way. And functional tests, special functions, and there's your radar calibration there. Vehicle not moving, ignition on, target board set properly. And then we'll make sure it's in the right range. And if not, it'll tell you the alignment status. Then we hit continue, and then it'll give me an error because I'm in the simulator. But that is where you would go to do the radar calibration. You would only see one normally. So just be aware. All right, so that's that. And then we have the Altima. Okay, I'm going to scanner, and you see it's slim pickings, as we said. It's really only that rear camera, unless I guess it's optionally equipped with side radars. What if I go into a round view monitor? Just gonna pick one. Special functions. Oh, that's for wrong one. I'll just go to this one then. Try that. Special function. All right, so it's got a few things in there that don't belong, but rear guideline correction. So if your guidelines are not correct, you would go in there. And then lastly, I want to go into that Sentra. I'll look at a couple more things. There's a lot more variance in here than go through security link. Okay, we're unlocked. Then we can go into the, say, the around view monitor in this case. Functional test. Oh, wrong one. I picked the wrong one again. There we go. So that's going to give me the camera calibrations. So it's not going to allow me to do it because I'm in simulator. I wonder if I can do this fine tuning a bird's eye view. Not correct again. Well, let's go into shop key and see if there's any targets for this one, because sometimes there's targets, sometimes there isn't. It just depends on the outside view camera. I'll just try this one. Configuration of the around view monitor. Read and write configuration. Yep, so that's it. It just basically allows you to go in there and make sure everything's configured properly. Let me just double check in the remove and replace though. Just for funsies. Oops, click too many times. Or mirror camera. There we go. Installation of the door mirror camera. And that's it. So no real calibrations, no targets needed anyways. There is a calibration that needs to be done, but there's no actual perform camera image calibrations. Let's say for that one too, yeah. Camera image calibration must be performed after removing or replacing the cameras, removing parts mounted on the cameras, or replacing the around view monitor control unit. Use the consult or scan tools required to perform calibration. Align the white lines in the road near the vehicle, the boundary of each camera image by this camera calibration. The white lines far from the vehicle may not be aligned at the boundary of each camera image. Farther align, the greater the difference is. So basically, it's going to rely on your vision to align it, I guess. All right. So that is, like I said, a quick one. Not a lot going on with Nissan. You got some targets. Front camera targets, rear camera targets on that Altima, and then a radar target for radar. So there are some things you might need to do, but otherwise it is generally pretty straightforward other than the targets. So that is Nissan. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about next week. So next week we are finishing off this stint of 6 classes in a row, and we're going to be talking diesel emission systems operation and testing. So we'll be talking more like light duty trucks. So 3/4 ton, 1 ton, dually trucks, that sort of diesel emission systems, SCRs and DPFs, and all that good stuff. So we're going to walk through that same time and place as always, 6 and 9 Eastern every Tuesday. Go to snapon.com/OT if you want to join on Zoom. Otherwise, the 6 p.m. class goes live to the YouTube channel like we're doing right now. It is youtube.com/snapon-diagnostics. You scan that QR code, you can subscribe. And 9 p.m. Eastern, we go live to our Facebook page. So it's facebook.com, or it's Facebook, and then it's Snap-on Diagnostics Training and Tools and Training, I think it is. They changed the name a little while ago, and I'm still not 100% on it. But you can always find us on Facebook. All right. And then if you want to see anything else in this series, anywhere from intro to ADAS through that diesel emissions class and anything in between, they're all 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on the amount of content and that topic. But if you go check those out, so we got 120 episodes by my estimation. That's roughly 60 hours worth of free training. So go check it out. And then, do we have your email address? If we don't have your email address, you may be missing out on some interesting and useful technical focus articles, SureTrack blogs, quick tips, new product release announcements. They send out my schedule periodically. So all sorts of good things coming out of the marketing team. For example, here's an article on timing chains and how to address a stretch timing chain or diagnosing it. I actually just got one on a SureTrack blog, real fix today, in my inbox. So if we don't have your email address, scan that QR code there, make sure you sign up, and you'll start getting that good information. Time for questions. If you are with me on Zoom and you have a question, please make sure you use the Q&A function. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, please feel free to use the live chat. And Jay is in here on Zoom as always, saying thank you for the class. Thank you very much for attending as always. Appreciate that. And it looks like Nick is being active on the YouTube. So dialing in from London as usual. It is 11 o'clock at night. Thank you very much. He said, question, do customers know about ADAS? I don't think a lot of customers do, and I think that's why we should be providing as much training as possible as we can. They don't realize, and I'm sure you're meaning like your customers, right? Repair customers. So I don't think they know the extent of the tooling that needs to be involved in it, the equipment that needs to be involved in it, the um what else? The tooling and the skill and the time required too, the amount of room that is required for some of these skills. So, or some of these resets, relearns. So yeah, I don't think your customers understand a lot of it. I don't think my customers understand a lot about it. Technicians out there, shop owners, because it was definitely a hot topic over the past year, and I'm sure when I go to SEMA again in a couple months, it'll be a hot topic again. So it's just people need more and more information on it and how to do this and how to do that. And I think in the coming months, we may see starting to see more specific actual function videos on it too, on live vehicles. So that's kind of in my back of my mind right now, and I kind of want to push towards going into next year. So instead of just having the slides, actually going through and hooking up to a car and doing it is what I would like to do. So maybe we'll be seeing more of that in the future. So very good. Thank you for that. Mike says on YouTube, when I purchase Mitchell subscription, will my grayed out wiring diagrams become active? Yes, they should. So it's going to depend on the vehicle, right? So if you have just the SureTrack enhanced subscriptions, what you might be talking about with those the quick links across the middle, they would be grayed out on a non-subscribed deal. But once you do have your subscription, you get the wiring diagrams. As long as we have the wiring diagrams for the car. If you look up like a 25 or a 26, it still might be grayed out just because we haven't processed through the wiring diagrams on them yet. But yeah, pretty much anything 04 and 24 and older, it would be all lit up, and all those quick links would be lit up for you. So you should be able to access anything you would need on that once you have an active subscription. So thank you for the question there. And Nick can't wait till next week. I can't either. So thank you very much for this. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. Hopefully you got a couple little takeaways from Nissan. Hopefully you'll join me next week for diesel. And with that, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Have a nice night and take care.